Psalm 122:1, we are privileged to enjoy the presence of the Lord wherever we are. Psalm 122:1, I was glad when they said to me, let us go to the house of the Lord. The psalmist expresses his eagerness to join the caravan and recalls the happiness that filled his heart when he received the invitation to join the group of pilgrims on the journey to the tabernacle in Jerusalem, the house of the Lord. David's heart was in the worship of God, and he was delighted when he found others inviting him to go where his desires had already gone, but to go into the house of the Lord signified more than just admiring the surrounding, it was to come into a congregation of like-minded people who had come together, and where they may enjoy the presence of God with them, hear his word, call upon his holy name. This is the same experience that we should experience when we gather together as the church, in praise and prayer, receiving help and confidence in our time of need, or sharing a familiar loving confidence with someone else in need. Martin Luther writes, therefore it is a false definition of the temple which the papists make, that it is a house built with stones and timber to the honor of God. What this temple is they themselves know not, for the temple of Solomon was not beautiful because it was adorned with gold and silver and other precious ornaments, but the true beauty of the temple was, because in that place the people heard the word of the Lord, called upon his name, found him merciful, giving peace and the remission for sins, etc. This is the right way to behold the temple, and not as the visored bishops behold their idolatrous temple when they consecrate it. Compiler's note: if I said that this psalm has prophetic implications, you might be inclined to say that I say that about every psalm, and for the most part that's a true statement, but here's a passage from Isaiah that opens the door to confirm its prophetic implication. Notice the time frame of the Isaiah phrase when he writes, in the last days, reading from Isaiah 2:2-4. In the last days, the mountain of the Lord's house will be established at the top of the mountains and will be raised above the hills. All nations will stream to it, and many peoples will come and say, come, let us go up to the mountain of the Lord, to the house of the God of Jacob. He will teach us about his ways so that we may walk in his paths. For instruction will go out of Zion and the word of the Lord from Jerusalem. For he will settle disputes among the nations and provide arbitration for many peoples. They will turn their swords into plows and their spears into pruning knives. Nations will not take up the sword against other nations, and they will never again train for war. HCSB. Neither is the phrase last days used to refer to the end of the physical planet Earth, rather, it is referring to the last days of the age of the Gentiles, the period of salvation by Christ's propitiation. Accordingly, as the last days of the period of the Gentiles draws to a close, the third temple will be constructed. Luke 21:24 They will fall by the edge of the sword and be led captive into all the nations, and Jerusalem will be trampled by the Gentiles until the times of the Gentiles are fulfilled. The Apostle Paul adds some enlightenment to this time period in Romans 11:25-27, so that you will not be conceited, brothers, I do not want you to be unaware of this mystery. A partial hardening has come to Israel until the full number of the Gentiles has come in. 26 And in this way all Israel will be saved, as it is written, the liberator will come from Zion, he will turn away godlessness from Jacob. 27 And this will be my covenant with them when I take away their sins. God is not done with you and me, and neither is he done with the Jew.